First, the hospital that failed little Rani and devastated her loving family. Late in her pregnancy, Chantel knew something wasn't right, but staff missed the warning signs.
She just always looked like she was sleeping. Soon she'll wake up, it'll all be better, you know, and we can take her home.
Little Rani Falconer died a day after she was born.
And these are imprints here of her feet and her hands. They're so tiny, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
Rani's mum and dad, Chantel and Stuart, have now been told the care they received at this hospital in central Queensland contributed to Rani's death.
I remember the nurses looking at her going, "There's nothing wrong with this girl. She just should have been out sooner. She could have been saved."
Yeah, even the staff you heard saying that.
Yeah, yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And here it is in writing from hospital officials. We determined that aspects of your care which contributed to the death of Rani fell below expected standards.
Something like this shouldn't happen. They should be able to do their job. They should know what they're doing.
We had full trust in that hospital from 2 other babies being born, my 2 other boys, perfect, healthy. I was born there. You could not fault them. That's why I went back. You're going to dig a hole, Riv? And you can pick which flowers you want to put in.
Today, Rani's brothers, River and Rory, are planting flowers in memory of their little sister who never made it home.
Which ones do you want to pick for Rani?
We'll do this one.
The Faulkners live in a country town 4 hours from Mackay, and Chantel says in the final weeks of her pregnancy with Rani, she suffered high blood pressure and was sent to the Mackay hospital for assessment. But on that first visit, the doctor didn't want to check her blood pressure.
And I was like, "Well, are you going to take my blood pressure?" And he was like, "Oh, do you want me to?" And I said, every person I see, normally I've been having the blood pressure taken.
And you felt like you had to argue for yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Finally, her blood pressure was taken and Chantel was sent home. But she was worried because when she had River 4 years before, she had preeclampsia, a potentially life-threatening disorder which typically causes high blood pressure. And River was eventually born by emergency caesarean 5 weeks early.
And now when we look back, it was them failing to pick up that preeclampsia was well and truly setting in, and you needed to do something. When we presented at the hospital the first time, I should have been admitted, and she'd have been out so much sooner.
And would have had a better chance of survival.
Absolutely. She would have survived. This should be her in my arms. 2 years.
2 weeks after that first visit to the hospital, Chantel goes back because she can't feel Rani moving. She's admitted and eventually Rani is born by emergency caesarean, but it's too late.
She went too long without oxygen and there was no real brain function left and they sort of say you gotta make a choice. You either take her off the breathing tubes or leave her on, but she's not going to get better.
A root cause analysis of Rani's death found management of this high-risk pregnancy was too casual. There was a missed opportunity to make a diagnosis of preeclampsia, and that once a decision was made for an emergency caesarean, poor communication likely contributed to the delay of over 60 minutes, which further contributed to the poor outcome.
I said, "Look at my notes so many times. Look at my history. Look at my history. You've got to see this is not right."
And Chantel isn't the only one to suffer after having a baby here at the Mackay Hospital. A shocking report was released 3 months ago after an investigation into the hospital's gynaecology and obstetrics services. It found that 3 babies had died and numerous women suffered physical and psychological harm after receiving substandard care.
Some of the failings at that hospital defy belief, and I've met and spoken with women in their early 20s who will never have a child again. women who lost babies.
Queensland's opposition leader David Crisafulli says he first heard horror stories about what was happening at the hospital at this public meeting 12 months ago.
It's horrendous. I would never, ever have another surgery again. It was a pretty traumatic experience for me.
To think that that was 12 months ago, and to know that the pain and suffering that they have endured, that was heartbreaking. And nothing short of getting justice for these women will cut it in the eyes of Queenslanders.
The report is damning in its identification of failings.
Queensland's Health Minister Yvette D'Arth eventually ordered an investigation, sacked the hospital board and apologised to the women who'd been affected by substandard care.
Unreservedly saying sorry to these women for what has happened to them.
The report into what happened to Rani basically finds out that you were right all along. Does that give you any comfort?
Yeah, but you know, I still lost my baba, so...
Following the damning report into what happened to Rani Faulkner, a coroner has now reopened the investigation into her death, and Chantel says she will shortly be interviewed by police. And I know the last thing you want to do is sit here and talk to me on national television, but why did you think it was important to do this?
Yes, I needed to come for her and for all the other mums. Yeah, if this can save other bubbas, then I'm happy about that too.
The Queensland Government says it has implemented most of the findings from the investigation into the hospital, and the family have been told they can apply for compensation. You can see a full statement from the hospital on our website.